Now, I'm going to mute everybody and we'll start standing. Let's see, I got to change camera. There we go. Okay, so let's come to equal standing. We get the feet in closer than the hips, big toes forward. Feel the weight through the feet. But we're going to balance that weight front and back, left and right. Add a bit of energy to the leg muscles. It's truly that feeling like you're holding a glass, a cup, just making contact. And then dropping the tailbone, lengthening right at the low back. We drop the tailbone, we get a bit of extension there, and then take that extension up the back body. So reaching up where we lift the ribs a bit, lengthening up between the shoulder blades, the shoulders, coming up to the base of the skull and creating a gentle lift at the base of the skull. And we'll just take an in-breath. We'll have the ribs widen and lift as we breathe in. Have the shoulders rise up. And on the exhale, just release the ribs. You can keep the weight of the shoulders off the ribs as you breathe out. And next time we're exhaling, let's just bring the hands onto the core. We'll start at the diaphragm. And we're just gently rubbing side to side, just breathing naturally here. And when we're ready to, we'll sweep the hands in circles. We'll go all the way to the tops of the thighs. So here we're, one of the things we're doing is massaging lymph nodes, circulating lymph circulating naturally, but it always appreciates some gentle assistance. And then when we're ready, drop the fingers low, just above the pubic bone, and on the in-breath, we'll travel up the center line. Now have the elbows start to pull the shoulders up and then release the arms. And we'll stay tall when we're breathing out. Now, this time when we come to the exhale, let the knees soften, bend a bit, drop the tailbone, sweep the arms forward, out from the shoulders, push forward, and then release over, relaxing the neck. And use an inhale to come up. As we're coming up, let's run the fingers up the legs, onto the low belly, and up our center line. And we'll use the same exhale. And on your inhale, just linger for a moment. Lift the shoulders, lift the heart. And then when you're ready for the out breath. And this time, whenever we melt over, let's stay here, have an extra breath. And then let's take the hands onto the backs of the legs. And just rubbing from the ankles up to above the knees, around to the sides. Okay, when we're ready to, as we bring the hands up, just keep coming up. So hands make their way to the low belly, and we'll go up our center line, reaching tall, arms coming forward again. Let's melt over again. We'll get that extra breath, just rubbing on the legs. And then from here, just bring the hands up to beside the knees, and we'll just bring our torso a little higher, maybe let the hips sink a little bit, and come into a position where we can make a circle through the knees, letting the ankles move freely. And then work with the spine, gently move the vertebra backwards, upwards, circling both directions. And when you're ready, coming into the center again, let the hips sink a little further, move them forward a bit, and push the vertebra backwards. Reach up at the neck, tuck the chin. And we're going to reverse as we breathe in, send the hips back, bring the chest forward and upward, and then just tip the tailbone in. And when you exhale, round the back, and this time let the hands slide down the legs again. And we're going to melt over here. And then we're going to come tall again. When it's an inhale, we'll bring the hands up the legs, all the way up, reaching for the ceiling. Lift the shoulders, lift the heart, and stay tall when we exhale. Okay, let's just separate the feet about hip width apart. And the hands are going to be on the hips. We're going to bend our knees. We're going to circle the hips. So just being aware of how we're working with our tailbone, taking circles in both directions. And then coming back into the center when we're ready. And let's bend the knees a little further, put the hands down just above the knees on the thighs, weight through the hands. Take the hips underneath, press vertebra back. When you're ready for an inhale, send the hips back and the chest upward, lengthen on the neck. And then from here, just see if you can tip the tailbone a little bit. And we're exploring that activation in the low belly. And then when we exhale, take the hips underneath again. And then for the inhale, reversing again. Okay, and then from here, we're gonna sink the hips a little further, a little further, a little further. And we're just gonna look straight out in front. We'll see if we can get a feeling of the back being long, extended, reaching at the neck. And then just lift the hands off the legs, let the palms up, and just take the palms forward. And imagine there's a little chair waiting for you. And see if you can take the hips just a tiny bit lower, just looking for that strength in the thighs. Reach out in the fingertips. And next time you need an inhale, just come tall, reaching up through the arms. And then we're going to stay tall. Just let the arms melt down. So we'll start with our hands on our hips again. And when we're exhaling, just turn the right side back, looking behind and release the right arm. We're going to point behind. On the inhale, take the arm up. On the exhale, run it down the opposite side of the body, releasing over. And coming up on the same back to the same hip. And then the left side. Okay, and we'll do our last set. So ending on our left side. So once we're done, we'll just feel the feet, sink the tailbone, lengthen the spine. And also explore the shoulders, keeping the weight of the shoulders from just dropping onto our ribs. And then we'll walk our feet wider. So taking the feet about shoulder width apart and let the heels go outward a small amount, let the knees relax, sink the hips down. We'll start with the hands on the hips and take the torso side to side. As you go to the side, just create a bit of reach with that elbow as it pokes out a little bit. Okay, and then we'll come back into the center. Now here, we're going to let the hands slide around the waist. So turning right, let that right hand reach behind, left hand travels around, and just turning side to side and just gliding the hands side to side. Carefully, not overturning the neck. We want to turn, really, it's the shoulders and the ribs, and the head just follows along. Head doesn't lead. Okay, so when we go left as our last time, and then we're back in the center. And then run the fingers up the center line. Reach tall. And then rotate the arms. Push up in the palms. So feel the shoulders, feel the shoulder blades come up. Have them lift the ribs. And then see if you can lower the hips a little bit here and stay pressing up in the palms. And then soften the arms, let the elbows bend. So we'll touch the fingertips to the shoulders. We'll swing our elbows in big circles, playing with both directions. And then we'll slow down and put the fingertips down the tops of the shoulders there. Gently push in with the fingertips and then draw up the elbows and drag the fingers over the shoulders or over the, over the collarbones. And then lifting the elbows again, taking the fingers back. And just explore. We can have the fingers quite close to the neck or further away. And then when the elbows are pointed forward, we're going to pull them down. We'll pause there and just undo the arms. So we'll have the palms upward and just point out through the fingertips. And then let's pull that right elbow back and keep the palm up and reach the left forward. So a little different movement through the shoulders when we keep the palms up. Okay, so when the right goes forward, just keep the right out in front, bring the left back out, and now bend the wrists and now rotate the arms. See if you can really turn them in. And now take the right back and then the left. And then a couple of times that long arm going low. And then back to shoulder height. And when the right is out in front, simply bring the left out. And then again, bend the elbows. We'll touch the shoulders. We'll take the elbows wide. And now let's take the right elbow forward. And then the left. So we'll keep our head forward, having the shoulders and the ribs rotate. So we can keep dropping in the hips. And then when the left goes forward, that's at the last time. And we'll simply come neutral here. We're going to reach the arms up again. Take that rotation, lift the shoulders, bring the ribs up from that lift. Let the hips sink down. And then try the arms wider apart. See if you can adjust inside in the shoulders, not just move the arms, but ease off a little bit, re-engage the shoulders in a new place. Okay, let's just release the arms. Allow them to just rest down. We're going to change the legs. Let's lift the heels, stretch up through the legs, and then we'll return the feet. And let's take the feet a bit wider apart. So let's turn out our right leg and simply bend the knee, and we'll put the right hand on the thigh, and she'll put the left hand on the hip. We'll come up and we'll just go side to side. So let the hands move as the legs move. Okay, so whenever we get to the right side, let's pause there for a moment. And then take this left hand, put it on the right thigh, and then turn the chest, turn the hips a bit so we can really face to the right here. And anchor down to that back foot. Give yourself a stretch down that leg. See if you can drop the tailbone, lift along the neck. And we'll just linger here for one nice long breath. And with our inhale, let's stretch up, run the hands back to the hips, around to the left. So we'll enter the same way. We'll get this kind of side position, and then we'll bring that right hand over to the left. Connect down to that back foot, drop the tailbone, lengthen along the back body. And let's come up as we breathe in. And we'll go to the right again. We'll get ourselves to that same turned to the right place. Now do work with the hips. Do sink the tailbone, lift the heart. And now this time, when you've got your hips in place, the power in your legs, release the arms, and we're going to reach wide. Now we can bring the arms to shoulder height. That's a nice position. And if it's okay for the shoulders, we'll come higher. And gently rotating. And we use the rotation really to help us elevate the shoulders. And then release the arms down. Let's, for a moment, touch that right thigh and then straighten, turn to the side. And then we'll go to the left. So starting with the hands on the thigh, locating that back leg, locating the hips. And then when we're ready, release the arms. They'll be at shoulder height to start. Let's One place we can keep them. And if it's okay, we'll come higher. Rotating, pressing up, reaching along the neck and dropping in the tailbone, taking the shoulders up. And let's release the arms. We'll bring them back onto the thigh. We'll straighten the legs. We'll come neutral. And now we're going to go to the right again. We're going to bend the knee, but we'll keep the sense of a side position. Now from here, this right hand, just slide it down below the knee. So really make contact with the shin and be prepared to use the hand to help take some of the weight. So exploring maybe to the foot without straining. See if the hips are able to sink a little bit. And when we want to come up, push on the front foot, lift the hip. Have an instant here in neutral and then to the left. So our starting place, and then allow the hand to come lower. Allow the hips to lower, staying strong. And then when we're ready, lift the hip, push on that front foot, come back up. We'll go right again. Coming down. So we're always looking for a strong place. And once we find it, we see if we can work with this upper arm. Let's just bring the hand up by the shoulder and then reach out along the ear. So just gently looking straight off to the side here. Gently working out through that upper arm, carefully forward through that front knee. Stay in touch with the back foot. And now the upper arm, swing it up, place the hand on the hip, start to lift the hips, and then bring that right hand up, coming into neutral. Lengthen the spine, go to the left. So once we get our first position, we'll slide the hand down. So we need to find our power here. And then we're going to take this upper arm, we'll touch the shoulder, and then we'll extend out past the ear. And again, place the face. So we're not doing crazy things with our neck. We want to keep our neck feeling long, not straining. And now let's return that upper arm to the hip. Start to lift the hips, push on that left leg, bringing ourselves back up. Just pausing for a moment. Okay, so let's add some rotation. We certainly warmed up a lot of stuff. So when you're ready, just sweep the arms up and out. And then this left hand is going to go to the right foot or down the right leg where it works. So turn out the right leg and just rotate the torso. Take that left hand down where it can touch. Right arm where it's comfortable. Doesn't have to lift up if that bothers the shoulder. Certainly don't do that. And then when you're ready to leave, reach out and up through that left arm and just come into warrior two. And then we'll just come back to our starting point. And then when we're ready, we'll go over to the left side, right arm down, left arm up where it works. And let's inhale up. And again, unwind to warrior two for a moment. And then return. Okay, just pausing for a sec. So that's our basic move, but we're going to get more work from our arms and shoulders. We're really going to start to windmill the arms. So let the body find it. The body knows it. Turn out the right leg. So right arm up, left arm drops back, and then send the arms through a big circle. And so we end up with the left arm down, the right arm up. And when you're ready to come up, lift the right, lift the left, come into warrior two, and just find warrior two. Find it in the hips with the placement of the tailbone. Find it in the feet with the power in the legs. Lift up along the back body. And then breathing in, straightening the legs, reaching the arms up a bit here. And then turn out the left leg. And again, get the arms to create that big windmill motion. And when we're ready to leave, lead with that upper arm. Lift the torso to warrior two. Rotate the arms to warrior two. And then on the inhale, come neutral. Bring the arms down for a moment. So let's do 2 or 3, 4 more, and we'll just do them a little quicker. So we'll just find our own tempo, always keeping our balance, always keeping our power, but just flowing a little faster, a little smoother. So when we're ready, right arm drops, right leg turns, left up and over, all the way to the first position. And then once we find the position, let's leave again and come to warrior two, and then leaving again. So flowing to the other side. Once we experience the position, once we've placed ourselves, let's leave and come to our next place. And then again, leaving once we know it, always staying powerful as we move. Okay, let's give ourselves one more cycle. So once more for each side of the body, ending on a left. And whenever we're done, just pausing. When we're ready to, we'll bring the feet a bit closer. We're heading back to kind of shoulder width for our feet. And just take a moment to realign, just to place the core. We're sinking our tailbone, lengthening the back body. We're just float the arms out. The right hand, reach out. As you reach further and further, the left heel leaves first, and the left foot loses weight. And just gently reaching, and see if you can let the left foot float free. And then touch the toes, shift the weight back to the center. And then reach through that left hand and float the right heel and then the foot. And we're just smoothly going. I want to find the tempo that works for today from our body, where we can get this balance to be a smooth transition side to side. Okay. So when you reach left, when that happens, let's have that be our last one. Okay, so we'll see if we can get this same move. So we've stayed tall for this move. Let's see if we can get it when we're low to the ground. So this hand, my right hand, rather than reaching out, is going to touch down, okay? So that means I've got to open up my right leg. I've got to bend the knee. If I don't want a lot of distance, and then just reach down and put those right fingers out in front of the foot and behind the foot, right behind the line of the foot, and then lean forward. And see if you can just float that left leg up, and then just put it right down and come back up. We'll go right to the left side. So again, not a lot of distance, bend the knee, place the fingers, lean out, and then that back leg, it just loses weight and floats up. And then right back down, we'll come back up. So we need to be prepared, obviously, to work with our distances, but just see for ourselves if we can flow smoothly. So we don't need to straighten the leg that takes the weight, right? We can have it bent or have it straight. When we're launching the back leg, we want it bent then. But once that back leg's in the air, we can explore possibilities. Okay, so whenever we do a left side, that'll be our last time. And now from here, let's transition out of standing. So if we start with our feet, let's say shoulder width apart, let the feet turn out a little bit and just bend the knees. And we're going to put the hands above the knees, but we're going to just let the hips drop. And then we're going to come up again. It's really important when we play with this that we keep the knees comfortable. And so sometimes we can bring the hands below the knees. We have to figure out where for ourselves it works. What we want is that we're using powerful muscles in the thighs and the hips, and we're not stressing our joints. So looking after the knees is very important in this. And so be prepared to adjust the distance between the feet. If you find you're getting low, it can be useful to have the arms between the legs. The legs can kind of squeeze a bit onto the arms can press out a little bit. And especially from there, when you're coming up, right, the arms act as a prop between the legs. Okay, so last time, we're going to take ourselves down and we're going to stay down. So we come low, and then easy way is a hand behind and a hand behind, and then simply set the hips down on the mat. But by all means, enjoy a moment in the squat there. It's a powerful position. And then once we've got ourselves down here, we're going to extend the legs and just gently bounce the knees. And let's do one more thing with these big muscles, thighs, and hips. This left leg, lift the knee and drag the foot in, or lift the foot in and bring the knee in close and the foot in close, and then extend. Same thing here for the right. And when you get the left in next time, just hold it for a moment. Do a couple of things in the core where you sink the hips and lengthen up, and just holding it for a breath and then switching. And try that once more. And once we get that grip for ourselves, we can play with like using less force from the arms. But we'll do something different now. We'll bring the left in and then let the knee fall toward the center line and come back up and then out. So bring the right in when you're there. Let it fall so the hips will rotate internally. We'll get a rotation low in the core here. And let's try that once more for each side. Okay. So after a right, simply keep the legs forward again, and we'll gently bounce the knees. And as we bounce the legs a little here, just let them find their own distance. Maybe wag them a little bit. So we get them in a place where they're comfortable through the hip sockets, and then float the arms in the air. And we'll get an inhale, we'll reach up. Time to exhale, turn, look at that right leg, swing the right arm back, reach out through the left arm, look down at the knee. Time for an inhale, we're in the center, reaching up. And same on the other side. Now, next time we get to our right side, let's stay. So whenever we get there, we'll put the hands down. So the right hand press a bit on the mat, the left hand holds somewhere on the right leg. And then work with the core again. Let's see if we can sink the tailbone and lengthen along the neck. So stay gently engaged in the right leg. There's a feeling of that right knee pressing downward without strain. Now let's release and inhale up. And then travel to the left. So long in our neck. Stay in touch with that left leg engaged. And let's release. We'll inhale up. And we'll just get an extra breath here. So we're going to rotate the arms, reach up. So we want to elevate the shoulders, energize the legs. Just turn the toes in a bit. Whole leg rotates. Shoulders, shoulder blades lifting, and have that effort. Bring the ribs up a bit and keep the tailbone dropping. We don't want to fall into pressing the back of the waist forward. We want it flat, sinking down, lifting up. Okay, and we're going to release. So melt the arms down and then bring the legs closer, float the knees up. Reach the hands underneath the legs, palms are down. Now add some weight from the thighs, and once you have some weight, consciously relax the arms, the shoulders, the shoulder blades. And let the spine start to melt down. And then increase the pressure on the forearms without straining in the low back. And now point the toes forward and lift the head, look forward. And then push the heels forward, tuck the chin, drop the head. And reverse again, toes forward, let the head lift, let the face look forward. And reversing again. And one more cycle. And now lift the knees a bit. Let's take the hands out. So bring the knees just a bit higher and then let the knees go open, and we'll come to the outside edge of the foot. So the big toes won't make it to the ground, but push down on the big toes as if you wanted to press them on the ground. And then gently keep the knees working outward. We don't want the feet too close, right? So if anything, be a little longer than shorter here. Drop the tailbone, extend the back body, bring the arms forward when you're ready, rotating. We'll come up by the shoulders on our in-breath. Get the lift, and then go wide. So adjusting our shoulders as we come wider, and finding inside the place that's comfortable, where the shoulders move apart, the shoulder blades are lifted, the armpits feel open, fingers are spread, pressing out in the palms, neck is long, and then connect your palms to the soles of the feet. And just check where the torso is. It's very easy to be leaning back a little bit. And we want to see if we can keep our ribs over our hips. And then soften the arms. Fold the arms in. Bring the knees up. Slide the hands under the thighs and add weight down onto the forearms as we relax the shoulders along the spine. And then letting the knees come up, and we'll get the hands out. Now stretch out the left leg straight, bring the right foot higher up. Okay, we'll take the right arm around that right knee. So press a bit of weight to the right foot and drop the hips, take length in the back body, and we're going to twist toward the straight leg to the left. So let's send the left arm forward, rotating. Use an inhale to come tall. Just take that moment to lengthen up, and then release the arm back, and we're going to turn back. So we'll touch those fingertips on the ground. Lengthen in the neck. Don't lean back. Fingertips are really just for stability. And in fact, those left fingertips, see if you could connect them to the sole of the right foot. You can find a passageway of engagement through the core. And let's soften. We'll come forward. We'll just go right into switching our legs. We'll go to the other side. So we'll take that left arm around the knee, engage with the foot, straight legs engaged. That right arm forward and up when we're ready. So take the length here and then release back. So we turn through the core and we don't lead with the head. The head lifts up and just is turned as because everything else is turned. And let's release, turning forward. Now, this left leg, step it to the outside of the right. So nudge the right in a bit so that foot's roughly in the center line. And so now the opposite arm goes around the left leg. Just gently hugging that knee towards us. We're going to start to turn left, ease the ribs around. And then feel where you've put the core. We want to ideally stay above our hips. Now let's take advantage of our left arm, sweep it out, rotate, take it up, and just stop long enough to take the extension and then take the fingertips behind. You could stay on the fingertips or you can wrap the hand around the back as you wish. I mean, both have their pluses. What we want to do though is stay in touch with the sole of that left foot, the balance of weight in the hips, the length along our spine. Okay, let's soften and release forward. And then we'll switch the legs. So same place, other side. Left leg is straight, left arm around the right leg. And then once we're good, we're in touch with that right foot. We've dropped the hip. We'll extend the right arm, rotating, reaching up. And then taking the arm back. Placing that right arm where it's useful to us. And let's soften, releasing forward. Now undo the legs. We're going to twist again toward the left. We'll see if we can put the right leg in a different place. So reach under the left, take hold of the right ankle or foot, and see if you can bring the right foot back by that left hip. And then we'll take that left foot on the outside. Now, if this is uncomfortable for the right knee, then work with the legs straight again. Okay, we want to sink the hips. We want to take the time we need to turn the core body round to the left. We want to bring that left knee gently toward the ribs. And then here, we're just going to keep going and take the twist. So now the left arm, see if you can just wrap it around the back body. Add some contact in the sole of the left foot. Add some length up the spine. Okay, let's soften and we'll turn forward. We'll keep the legs where they are. We'll do one more position here. I'm going to take my right fingertips, just touch them off to the side. I'm going to lean enough to the right that the left knee can press forward and this left hip's off the mat. I'm going to keep that left side where it is, but drop the tailbone. And then carefully coming a bit taller. And then when you're ready, send the left arm straight out. So arms right above the knee there. Now we push the shoulder blade forward, but we just keep reaching tall. Lengthen along the spine and let the eyes just relax downward. Okay, let's soften and release that left arm, relax and release the left leg. And then let's switch. So now the left leg goes underneath, left foot by the right hip. And take that right foot on the outside of the left knee. So we sink down in the right hip. Get that opposite arm to hold the knee, the shin. Avoid leaning back or to the side. Feel the placement of the core body. Drop weight down into the hips. And then we just keep easing naturally into this twist as we adjust ourselves. Now, when we're ready to, we can sweep this right arm around the back, around the waist. Lift up in the neck. So gently making contact in the sole with the right foot. Engaging the core to help us stay tall. And now let's soften and release. We'll turn forward. And then we'll put that left hand, fingertips over to the side, lean a bit, push the right knee forward. So we want that right hip off the mat. Sink your tailbone, lengthen in the back body. We'll bring the right arm straight out from the shoulder, press out through the palm, spread the fingers, and we come vertical. We don't lean forward, we're still reaching upright. So we do want to work with the places where we're making contact with the mat. That flat foot, tailbone dropping, but it doesn't touch the mat. Okay, let's release. So soften that right arm back, undo the legs. Maybe get the legs a little bounce gently. When we're ready to, we'll just cross the legs. So the feet going outward toward the knees. We're going to do this both sides. So just knowing which shin we've got in front. And then settle in the hips, lengthen in the back body. And we're going to place our fingertips outside the knees and simply start sliding our fingertips forward. Lengthening the neck, taking our gaze down. Okay, so take the weight off the hands, just draw the fingers back up, coming tall. And we're going to switch the legs. So maybe leaning back on the hands and come off the ground. They get a shake. And let's change sides. So coming tall, just slide the fingertips forward. Melting over. Okay, let's come back up, drawing our fingers in. And then once we're back up, let's switch our position. We'll come onto our back body. So we'll be on the spine with the knees bent. So start with the feet flat. And just take a moment to feel the contact the body has with the mat. And then gently pressing the sacrum flat. We come to an exhale, draw the knees in, take the hands to the knees. Let's move the knees wide toward the shoulders, placing our sacrum flat. And then bring the knees together, lightly press the legs together. And we're going to take the hands away, still keeping the sacrum flat. Now take the arms straight out to the sides from the shoulders. Put the palms down against the mat. Lightly press on the fingertips. Now turn the head, look at the left elbow. Make sure the arm is truly at shoulder height, doesn't want to be higher than the shoulders. Lightly press the knees together and see if you can take the knees toward that left elbow, just coming to where it's comfortable. And then use an inhale to lift them back up. And then turn the head and look over at the right elbow. And then send the knees over toward the right elbow. And again, lifting, coming neutral. Let's go side to side, one or two more times, one or two more sets. So keep the tailbone tucked. So the opposite hand, it's going to move around, but keep some pressure at the fingertips. So ending after the right side. And once you've done the right side, when the knees are back up, take the hands to the knees, lift them apart, release the back onto the mat. Use the hands to hold all the weight of the legs. And then breathing in the belly, have the belly rise and fall, just like a balloon. And now bring the knees together and put the feet down on the mat. And then send the arms out from the shoulders again. This time the palms are upward. So now we're going to tip the knees to the right and we're going to look to the left. We're going to look away from the knees. Turn the left palm down, rotate further so the shoulder lifts. And then the inhale is neutral and the exhale is the other side. And after the knees go left, simply keeping the legs up for a moment, position the sacrum flat. And then bring the knees up into the chest for a moment, not all the way in, just a place where we can hold them close to the ribs. And then let's roll all the way to the side. So once you're on the side, the lower knee, send it downward. The top knee, bring it upward and put that top foot, just hook it behind the lower leg. The lower arm, just start by resting it on that top leg. The upper arm, take the palm behind the head and put the head down on the ground. Now tuck the tailbone. We're going to keep the face toward the ceiling. If you like, the hand can stay underneath the head, or simply take the hand out from the head and have it close to the ear. It's really our choice here. Now, what we'll work on here is turning the sternum gently but clearly toward the ceiling. So not turning the head, the face stays toward the ceiling. The chest turns toward the ceiling. And that upper arm with the bent elbow, just let it relax as we work with the sternum. Okay, let's release. So relaxing. When you've released, just come onto the back. And then when we're ready, we'll take the legs to the other side. We set up the legs. Lower arm, we'll just rest it on the top leg. The upper arm, the hand is either underneath the skull, the head, or by the ear, just seeing which works better for us today. Now, we're not pushing the arm, we're turning the ribs. So the sternum, the breastbone, turning toward the ceiling, the center, and the eyes looking downward, face stays neutral. Okay, let's release, and we'll come onto the back again. And then simply draw the knees up. Hands move knees toward shoulders. Sacrum is flat. And simply breathe into the belly, having it rise and fall like a balloon. And now, just let the knees slide out from the hands, let the feet land, and then put the arms down on the mat. Release the shoulders, relax the arms. And then scrape down the outside edge of one foot to extend the leg, and then the other. And just adjust so we can rest our body on the ground, letting go. And releasing so we breathe freely. And now let's move again in our fingers, our toes, moving the ankles and the wrists, through the arms and legs. And then stretching out the arms and stretching down the legs, lengthening our back body. And on the exhale, bring the knees in. Take hands on the knees, rocking gently. Then release onto either side. We'll bring ourselves up to sitting. Namaste.